So let's talk about starting and growing your very own mountain bike YouTube channel, because we all know that's how you make it in this industry. Jokes aside, let me start by saying my channel's nowhere near big, or I'm nowhere near successful at this kind of stuff. So this isn't a kind of humble brag kind of video. But after 2.5 years and to celebrate almost hitting 20,000 subscribers, thought it would be a great idea to show you guys a bit of the process behind what goes on with the videos, and then also what has worked and what hasn't worked for me if you're looking at starting your own channel. On the side, it's a great place for me to reflect on all this stuff and what works and keep myself accountable in the future. Because let's face it, I'm pretty lazy with this kind of stuff and I don't follow half my advice as well. So I'll do my best to try and not ramble. It is kind of like a rambly talking head video, but I'll do my best to try and keep it somewhat fun. And I'll try and organize into chapters, so if you need to come back to the video, reflect on anything, the timestamps will be in the description as well. So let's start with branding, and it's probably one of the least important things to start with, but it's good to build a brand that's unique to you. In my experience, it's best to build a brand that relates to you, the content that you're producing, and it's easily marketable as well. But don't get too hung up on this, just pick something and stick with it. I'm happy I stuck with Trail Talk MTB, although it's not the most cool name. It's exactly what I do. I talk about trails, mountain bikes, all those things together. What I'm not happy with is how many times I've changed my damn logo. That's why I painted on the wall right here, so I don't ever change it again. Although I did design it myself, I'd 100% recommend just going on Fiverr, paying someone $10 to $20 to design the logo for you professionally. They do it for a living, they know what they're doing, and you're always going to get a good result. But as said, the main takeaway, when you pick your logo and your name, stick with it. People are always going to associate your content with those two things, so yeah, keep it the same. And that goes for everything, all your socials, your thumbnails, your merch, and all that kind of stuff like that. On a side note, stickers coming soon. So what to film? And that's going to be really up to you. What do you enjoy doing? Is it going to be more vlogs, more POV based with kind of some storytelling as well, or is it going to be more reviews? Whatever it may be, it's always going to work best if there's a bit of a story. I always find it's best to play with your strengths. I live on bike forums, I watch plenty of reviews and all that kind of stuff like that. I used to work at a bike shop too, so most of my kind of experience is based around informing people. So that's why I stick to mostly reviews as well as buyer's guides. When it comes to YouTube, people are watching for two reasons. It's either to be informed or they're here to be entertained. If you can do both, you're on to an absolute winner. But yeah, if you can really focus on one to start with and then work on combining them, that's gonna work best. And plenty of mountain bike channels really combine those. So say BKXC has a lot of riding footage, does a lot of informing, so about the trail, but he also has some storytelling in there, so it's pretty entertaining, as well as backyard trail builds, informing about trail building, but there's plenty of storytelling behind those trail builds, and it's really entertaining too, really satisfying to watch. As you guys probably noticed, I'm not the most entertaining guy, and that's why I really stick to those more informing videos. A handy tip for myself that I've learned, and for a lot of those channels more starting off, even if you focus more on the storytelling side of things, chucking in the odd review here and there is really going to attract a lot of viewers that normally wouldn't have watched your videos. People watching reviews, they watch from all over the world, so it's going to give you a lot of traffic from different places around the world to tune into your channel. And as I said, this has really worked for me. For anyone outside of the US, it's very hard to kind of grow your mountain bike channel. So doing those reviews, as you can see in my analytics, I've got a lot of viewers from all over the globe, so those reviews have really helped for me. So this is where the video process starts, but we're not quite ready to film just yet. And you'll quickly realize that planning really is everything. It really all starts with an idea, and you really need to put yourself into the viewer's shoes. What do they want to watch? Can the topic that you're filming about be easily searched? And does it really fit in with what you actually want to film? Because at the end of the day, you're making content that you really want to. Once you have an idea, it's now time to write the script or jot down what you're going to talk about in the video. And more importantly, how that's all going to gel together and really form a good story for you. Another tip that I found really helpful as well is definitely jotting down the main shots that you need to tell your story. So having a good shot list before you go out is definitely recommended. I find the best videos that I've watched really treat the story like a narrative, and someone who does this well is the Singletrack Sampler in all his newer videos, so the more well-produced stuff. There's a clear storyline, and BCPOV does this really well too. The main thing you really want to focus on, as with a narrative, you want to build it up, have a bit of a complication, and then have that real payoff at the end. When it comes to filming the actual video, get creative with your angles. There's a bit of a meme that POV is dead, and I kind of tend to agree with that, but even the best POV channels now, they've included a lot more vlogging, a bit more third-person shots, and they really tell us a bit of a story with their video as well. So just remember that different angles and stuff like slow-mo, say like a GoPro behind you or a slow-mo around the corner, it's really there to emphasize a point. Don't go too crazy with all the different shots, just really use that shot to emphasize a point in your story. My next tip would always be to film more than you actually need. You don't want to be stuck in the editing room and not having enough clips, so definitely always film a bit more than you actually need. And lastly, but most importantly, put yourself in front of the camera. Most of us on YouTube, I know speaking from my experience, I'm not the best writer, so being approachable and relatable is probably one of the best things you can do for your channel, and that's very hard if you're not in front of the camera. And being in front of the camera, people feel like it's easy to engage with you, so they'll leave comments, and that's also going to help your channel grow as well. So 100%, I know it sucks, but you got to put yourself in front of that camera, and a bit of energy as well. Looking at back my old videos, there was no energy there whatsoever. So let's talk a little bit about gear. I'm not going to go super deep into details about settings and all that kind of stuff. There's plenty of resources out there. If you're looking for some more resources on camera gear and how to film some YouTube videos, check out Think Media. I'll put a link in the description for them. And then there's plenty of other mountain bike YouTubers that have done a lot of videos on GoPros as well. So I'll link some of those that I like, and then I'll also put my GoPro settings in the description too. Another meme that a lot of YouTubers will say was, oh, it's not about the gear and all that kind of stuff like that. But you definitely notice as you spend a bit more on gear, production quality obviously goes up. But to start off with, phone cameras are fantastic these days. And with a phone as well as a GoPro as well, you can make some epic videos. Personally, I really like the GoPro Hero 9 Black. You can do everything with this camera. You can vlog, you got the screen on the front. The stabilization's amazing. So with that Superview as well as Hypersmooth, the stabilization's fantastic. So you can pretty much do everything on that camera. And if you're really focused on telling a story, you can get some fantastic shots with just your phone and your GoPro, as I said. So get some slow-mo, plenty of different angles with those cameras, almost stabilized gimbal shots too. There's plenty of options with those cameras. Chuck a voiceover on top and you've got an awesome video. But footage is only half the battle. People actually need to listen to your video too. So small things in audio can make a huge difference. Something like putting some dead cats on your GoPro or wind slayer is going to absolutely transform your videos. You can actually hear you talk when you're riding. And something like a lav mic that I've got here in this big echoey garage. I know it's not 100% perfect, but it sounds 100% better than what I had when I had a shotgun mic. So listen to that now. Hey guys, welcome to Trail Talk MTV. So as you can see, this mic only costs around $30–40, so the difference is amazing. And also getting a USB microphone like this one here can really add some professionalism to your videos through the use of voiceovers as well. Lighting is something that can't be ignored either. You can have the best camera in the world, but if the lighting's not great, it's gonna look terrible. So something small like when you're going out shooting in the morning and afternoon is gonna give you the best results. When you're doing your individual shots in your main vlogging, just look for the best lighting. You don't want shadows on everything, or you don't want crazy highlights either. So really take some time and focus about the lighting, because it's going to make your footage look 10 times better. If you're doing a video that's kind of more sit down and talk, getting your lighting dial is going to make everything look so much better. So getting a fill like this, they're pretty cheap, pretty affordable as well. And then maybe getting an LED behind you spruces things up, looks cool, but it also creates a bit of separation as well. Another tip that I'd have is create a bit of a set as well. So people know when they look at my videos, this is kind of my set. It's a bit of branding as well. And it also can make things look a bit better than, say, a bland background. And it just looks a bit more professional too. If you have any questions about the gear that I use, leave a comment below. I'll put a link to every piece of gear that I use in the description. The main other thing I've got is a Sony a6400. That's my main camera. So if you're looking for a main mirrorless camera, I 100% recommend the Sonys. So just like how the story starts here, this is where it all comes together as well in the editing room. On a side note, check how cool my mouse pad is. Gotta love a good bin chicken. When it comes to editing software, don't get too caught up with which one's best. Personally, I use Filmora X. It's designed for more YouTube creators and stuff like that, so everything's super simple for me to produce my videos. Plenty of titles there, licensed music, simple color correction. Not too crazy like a lot of other editing softwares out there, but stuff like Final Cut Pro, Premiere, also DaVinci Resolve, they're great options as well. But no matter what editing software you're gonna use, you can tell a great story with just simple cuts, and most of it should be simple cuts. Even though editing on YouTube videos is very simple, there's actually a lot of psychology that goes into it. So I definitely recommend checking out a channel, Hillier Smith's channel. He's a really good editor, one of the best editors on YouTube, and he goes into a bit more about the psychology and what makes a good YouTube video. So check out his videos if you want to get a bit more insight into that. But what you really need to understand is people have very short attention spans these days, and you need to make every second count. That's probably why this video is not going to go that well. But anyway, moving on, what you really want to think about is the video in 15-second blocks. If the next 15 seconds doesn't contribute to pushing the story forward, feels like dead weight, cut it. Don't fall in love with your footage. The next is something that I've been very guilty of in the past as well, and that's intros. And you can see this with your analytics. As soon as there was that intro, audience retention went down straight away. And this is mainly for those new people coming to your channel. They don't want to see this EDM drum and bass drop with this writing for 20 seconds that's not even related to the video. Get straight to the video. People have clicked on it because they want to watch that thing. If not, they'll click off straight away and go to the next thing. Editing Phil here. So just to elaborate, as you can probably tell, those first 5 to 10 seconds are super crucial for audience retention. So I find what works best is putting maybe some highlights there, or a teaser of the main event of the video. And the last thing, as I kind of touched on a bit earlier, don't over edit your videos. Transitions should only be used to say, tell a story. If you're going to a new location, use a transition there. But if you're just clipping stuff together, normal cuts will do the job just fine. And if you find that you've planned everything well and got plenty of different angles, you find that you won't have to use many transitions and you can really tell a different story with those angles or the shots that you've got. Bit of sound design as well, so a bit of music and sound effects too. After all that hard work you've put into your video, you don't want it to all go to waste by doing a bad title and thumbnail. If your title isn't easily searchable and no one can find it, and your thumbnail doesn't look good, no one's going to want to click on it. When it comes to more informing videos, your title's going to be super important. So you really want to nail in those key search terms into that title of that video. Because as you might not know, YouTube's the second biggest search engine in the world, just behind Google, and on Google, YouTube videos pop up as well. So you really want to make that title searchable. And this is what I do with my buyer's guides. I put everything in that title that I think someone might be looking for a new bike is going to look for. I'm not saying clickbait people because people hate that, but say for instance my last video, my title was swapping back to tubes and that was in the thumbnail as well. That wasn't a lie. I'm swapping back to tubes because of Tannis, but it's something that's going to draw people in to want to watch the video. Moving on to the thumbnails now, and they're just as important with the title. When people look going down the videos, the thumbnail is going to be the thing that pops out to them the most, and then they'll probably look at the title. So especially on those more entertaining videos, that thumbnail is going to be absolutely key. In the past, I've been absolutely terrible with thumbnails and I haven't been consistent either. I've gone through, I think, 5 different thumbnail designs and I'm finally now happy with what I've got and I'm not changing them ever again. This is what you're getting from now on. And again, that's from a branding perspective as too. So yeah, stick with the thumbnail designs and then really highlight that main part of that picture. So make it pop. You can use a mask on Photoshop. So mask it out, then kind of brighten it, saturate it as well. That's going to make it really pop. Then darken the background, so you're going to get some separation there. So you really want to highlight that key feature. If that's the bike or it's a part of the trail that you're dropping in on, hard feature, really highlight that part of the video. If your picture's really good and you've nailed the title, you probably don't need any text, but I find a little bit of text, just kind of something that pops out a bit about what you're talking about. So for me, talking about a certain bike I'm reviewing, just have the title of the bike and then review under it. I found that really helpful. Another tip that's really useful, don't put any text in the bottom right corner. That's where the time's going to be. So if you have any text there, it's going to be covered by the time for the video. So yeah, don't put anything down there. And the last tip for editing the thumbnails, I use Photoshop for the main image to do that mask, get some colors in there. And then I put it over to Canva, and that's just really easy to edit the text and all those kind of small features that I've got for the video as well. That's a bit more complicated in Photoshop. But if you're just starting off, I think Canva is a great program to start your kind of thumbnails with. Super easy, free online, and yeah, absolutely easy to use, and it's super popular too. Be consistent. I know I've said that so many times throughout this video, but the YouTube algorithm really rewards being consistent. So if you can post a video every 1 or 2 weeks, the algorithm's really going to reward you and it's going to show up in a lot of people's recommended videos. And more importantly, your subscribers have got something to look forward to and they're going to be stoked when you put out content all the time. Then there's a chance that if you're really consistent and growing, YouTube might put you as a creator on the rise, so you get put on the main page for a day and people can watch your videos that normally wouldn't have seen it. Okay, so we finally made it to the last part, and if you've done everything we've talked about before and be consistent, your channel should grow without any problems. But here's some last tips to really squeeze any kind of last growth out of your channel. The first one is answer every comment you get. Not only is this super helpful for the person that left the comment, but they're going to come back and watch your videos because they've had a good experience. Customer service, essentially. And then again, it's increasing engagement, so any kind of engagement your channel gets, it's going to push you up the algorithm as well. The next is starting to engage in the greater YouTube community. Start commenting on some other people's videos. Don't spam every video out there. Just leave a genuine question after you've watched the video. If you've watched the video, ask something insightful. Or if someone else has asked a question in the comments, see if you can answer that question as well if you know the answer. And this goes for other socials too, but only leave your video if it's relevant to the group or people actually asking, and then don't spam everyone asking for shout outs and stuff like that. People hate spam. And don't forget to share your videos on your own socials as well. This is something I'm terrible at. I'm doing it all day during work. I don't want to do more sharing on my socials, but it's something I really need to do this year. So don't be like me, just share your videos on your socials. And it's also a great little reminder for your subscribers as well. Say if they missed your video this week, if there's a post on some of your other socials and say, oh, I missed that video. Okay, so then they can go over and watch your video on YouTube as well. Another great thing to do is to put some unique content on your other socials. So really reward people from following you on, say, Instagram, for example. Put some kind of behind the scenes on your Instagram story or some short edits on your feed too. Another tip, I know a lot of people don't like this, but have a call to action in your video. Just don't put in the first kind of minute or 2 minutes of the video. I've kind of learnt to put it a little bit later from now on. People don't like being told like, comment, subscribe straight away in the start of the video. So yeah, after they kind of settle into the video, kind of have a prompt there, people normally won't like your video or subscribe unless they're told or the content's very good. So yeah, just that little prompt there just helps kind of get a little bit more engagement too. So there you go. Sorry if that was a bit of a mouthful, but I do get a lot of questions about this kind of more YouTube stuff, and it was good that I could put it all into one video and answer all you guys' questions. And this video can help one person on their YouTube journey, then I'm pretty happy with that. And there's a lot of stigma around this whole YouTuber thing. I'm not really a YouTuber, I'm just a guy that makes videos, and if those videos help people out, that's great. And we all just like bikes, that's all it is at the end of the day. And if you aren't interested in this whole YouTube thing, it gives you guys a bit more insight to how these videos are made and the kind of process behind it, because it does take a little bit of time. So say the filming takes around 2 to 3 hours, the editing anywhere between 5 to 10 hours, depending on how big it is. Then you need to make the thumbnails, put it out there with all the descriptions and stuff like that. When it all adds up, it takes me around about 1.5 days altogether. And don't worry, we're getting back to bike videos next week. I had a good idea for a video this week, but all the parts were still in transit and I didn't really have anything to film, so I thought, oh, why not do this? So yeah, there'll be a cool video coming out next week that's bike related. But if you are interested in this YouTube stuff or you just have a general comment as well, leave a question below and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you guys have. If you guys have any feedback for me on how to produce better content, absolutely leave it in the comments as well, and I'll take that on board and start making my videos even better in the future. Because at the end of the day, I just want to create better videos for you guys to watch. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like, also subscribe, and as always guys, thanks for watching. See ya.